Okay guys, these are the two variations of the video stabilizer for the iPhone and also game controller that you can use for the iPhones that we're going to be making. So there's two variations. The first one I ever made was this one here, and I'll show you how to make both of these. They're quite simple to make. So this was the first one I created, and the reason I had it set up this way was so you could mount the iPhone straight in there like so, and it holds it nice and snugly. It's not going to go anywhere at all, so that's nice and tight. There's no dramas there whatsoever. This works really well, and the option you've got here is you can actually add a hot shoe or something along those lines where you can mount a microphone or whatever. Now the downside with this one is you're actually holding this controller upside down. Now it still works well for stabilizing, but you are actually holding the controller upside down. So if you go like this is the way the controller is meant to be held. So it doesn't work as well. But like I said, if you want to mount something up here, this would be the configuration to go in. The second controller I made was this one, and all I've done is instead of cutting the top, I've actually cut the bottom. So what you have here is similar sort of configuration. The upside with this one is you've got two indentations here, so you can tell the controller is actually designed to be held this way. So this works great as a games controller and also as a video stabilizer. Now the other advantage in this setup is if you are going to use this for gaming. If you're going to use it for gaming, it's in the absolute perfect position because you can play your games and you've also got full access to the screen, the touch screen, with your thumbs. So if you're going to use it for gaming, this is probably the way to go, I think. So I guess it depends which way you want to use this. So besides the Wii controller holder, the wheel, you're going to also need this type of foam. It's available through any art and craft supplier, and it's just basically this soft foam that you use for art and craft purposes. This is sort of a spongy type foam. I've got two different types of sheets. I've got 6mm sheet, and I've also got a 2mm sheet, and I went for white colour only because the Wii controllers I have are white, so it's going to not stand out so much. Now if you can get this in 4mm, I couldn't, that would be better. I'll explain a little later on why, but what I'm using at the moment is 2mm thickness and also 6mm thickness. Excuse my shocking handwriting, you're also going to need the foam cut up, and what I've done is I have 37mm by 29mm, and I've got two at 6mm and also two at 2mm each. And down here what I have is 37mm by 19mm, and as you can see I've also got two here at 6mm, and I've got two at 2mm. Ideally, if you can get this in 16mm thickness, that would be ideal, but I couldn't find any that thick. 6mm was the thickest I could actually get. So what I'm going to be doing is combining these two with these two, and that'll form one side, and these two thinner ones in between here, and that will form the other side. So what we need to do is basically take this apart, and that's pretty easy. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws, and just unscrew those and get the last screw out. Grab these 5 screws, put them aside, and this should come apart. This piece we can put aside. You want to take that out so we don't break it. So this is the one that we're going to cut up, and as you can see what I've done here, if I remove the iPhone, is I've cut the top section away, and what we're going to do with this one, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to cut this section away. Okay, what we need to do now is work out how much we need to cut out. We need this iPhone to actually fit in here comfortably. I don't think it's possible to actually cut too much away, so I wouldn't be too fast, but it does need to fit. So if we have a look at the iPhone itself, now I'm measuring this up with the case only because the plan is to actually use it with the case on, and that's at 118 millimeters. So if I go around about the 120 mark, I should be safe. Okay, so I've got my marks. I've got two little marks. I'm not sure how well you can see those, but there's coming close. There's a little mark there. I've also put a little mark over here. So what I'm going to do now is, using snips or anything you like, you could use a hacksaw, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to cut this away. Okay, that's one side done. Now, from this side I'm going to come in on an angle. That's one cut. That's cut out. You can use a hacksaw, obviously. And what I'll do is I'll trim this part up. So what I'll need to do now is basically trim the rest of this and just file it down. Okay, so what I've done is basically hacked away at this, and I've removed that section. I've removed this piece that was over here. And the iPhone should actually fit okay, and it does. I've got heaps of room there, so it's not going to foul up against anything. We're pretty much finished here. All we need to do now is basically put it back together again. Goes back in here. It should go back together okay. And now it's just a matter of putting these screws back in again. And there you go, it's all back together again. And it's the opposite to the other one. We're ready to put the foam inserts in. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to grab these 4 sheets, the smaller ones and the big ones, and we're going to glue these 2 together, and then we're going to sandwich those in between these ones here. And that's what we're going to end up with, and we're going to do the same with these bigger sheets. Line this up as best you can. Apply nice even pressure to it. It should dry pretty quick. And that's done. So we do the same here now. Line it up. Even pressure. That's not bad. And do the same again. Even pressure. And we do the same with these bigger sheets. Okay, now if you have a look carefully here, this section here is deeper than that section there. So we've got the smaller sheets and the bigger ones. The bigger ones are going to go in here and the smaller ones are going to go in here. And it's pretty simple to put in. And all we do is get some hot glue in here. Pick the neatest side on the outside. We push that in place. That's okay. And we do the same with the opposite side. That's the neater side. Now once you've done that, this should actually fit now. And just confirmed that it does fit, and the iPhone seems to fit fine. I'm happy with that. So what we'll do now is, using a blade like so, we're going to trim this edge here. And just do this really carefully. Put the iPhone in there, and as you can see, the iPhone's really secure, it's not going anywhere. Now the advantage in actually mounting it this way is you have a couple of depressions here for your thumb, and it feels really comfortable to hold this way because the control is actually designed to be held this way. The other advantage is, because it's so comfortable in the hand, you can actually use it the way it's intended to be used, which is a game controller. So I'm guessing the advantage with having it this way is you can obviously play games with it. It's going to be a lot more natural to hold, and you're going to have really good control over the iPhone itself. So it sort of serves two purposes by mounting the iPhone in there this way. Is it makes a great controller as a games controller. It's really, really worthwhile, and it's also great if you want to use it as a cinematography rig. So it works well both ways. On a final note, a quick and easy way of finishing the rig off and making it look 100% is just cut up a couple of sheets for the end of it using the 2mm foam, and by just covering up the foam underneath, it sort of neatens up the whole rig and makes it look good, irrespective of whether you use it for cinematography filming or whether you want to use it as a gaming device. It really works, and works quite well, and the rig looks quite nice. Don't forget to thumbs up and also subscribe, and it's also worth noting that the idea for this rig and a few other devices has pretty much been inspired by the Frugal filmmaker, and I suggest subscribing to his channel because there's always some great information and tips available. So there you go. Thanks for watching.